Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the vlog. It's Tuesday. We're doing some testing today for school. Juniors are doing some testing, actually. So school is starting really, really late today, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, I'm just chilling out. I think Lucas might come over this morning, but I don't really know. I don't know if it's going to be TTD or not. I really don't know. It's a Tuesday, pretty uneventful day, but the schedule for school today is pretty good. It's going to be a really short, really easy day, I think. And I'm just chilling out. I watched a ton of YouTube this morning, listened to a lot of music, so I'm like trying to figure out what to do. I could do some work, but then again, I don't want to. So anyways, good morning to chill out. That was a horrible vlog. Sorry if I'm squinting, but the sun is like shining directly into my eyes right now at the moment, because I chose not the best time of day to record. Like, I actually cannot see right now. Anyways, let me get into a good place in the shot. So, I had this idea, like today or something. What am I doing? I had this idea today, for, I don't know what I'm going to call it, like weekly gospel or something, or a weekly, I almost said weekly news, because, you know, the gospel is the good news, right? But we already went through the weekly news, right? That didn't work out. Weekly gospel, weekly something, I don't really, holy smokes, I just disappeared completely. Alright, we're revamping the shot. Alright, so it looks like, oh, I think a cloud went over the sun, and that ruined the entire lighting of the shot. Anyways, basically what this thing would be, it'd probably come out every Sunday, because, like, you know, what other day would it come out? And it'd just be like a little, I don't know, originally I wanted to call it Pastor's Minute, but that sounds stupid. But like in Scouts, we have the Scoutmaster's Minute, so I'm like, oh wow, I'm really smart, I can do Pastor's Minute just doesn't, you know, go off the tongue or anything, or weekly, especially if I want to put weekly in it, so like people know it's every week, like weekly pastoral minute, like what the hell are you doing, Hunter? So probably not, but I'll come up with a name for it, probably weekly gospel or something, or maybe not, maybe like the weekly word. Ooh, that's alliteration, the weekly word, or something. But so 2 minutes in, let's say what it is. So what this would basically be is kind of what I've pulled out, because in reading, you know, in spending time thinking about the word and everything throughout the week, usually, I don't know, I've never actually tried to look at the frequency of it, but I would say probably like once a week or something, I'll have like a mini revelation, I guess, if you want to call it. I don't even read Revelation. Okay, no, that was off top. Okay, but I'll have like a mini revelation in my head, or a little, you know, like realization, or like something clicks, you know, just something that I've, you know, like I've heard it all before, but then like two things from two different sides like connect, and then it's like, oh, you know what, this is a thing, you know, just kind of connect things like that. So that happens every once in a while. It actually hasn't happened recently, so I don't know why I thought of this idea, but you know, it's still only Tuesday, so I have the rest of the week. But just kind of talk about it, especially like at Impact, a lot of times I'll hear a sermon, and it'll just kind of ring a bell, you know, be like, yeah, you know, just, but basically what this is going to be is just every week saying something. I did this once on a vlog. I had one of these revelations, and I actually vlogged it. It was before Delta. It was a long time ago, actually less than a year ago, so I don't know, that's a long time ago for me. But I said something about how God always loves you. I think in that time I was kind of going through where like something would happen, and I'd be like, yeah, I shouldn't have sinned today. Like, Hunter, you're stupid. You deserve that to happen. Like, nothing big. Like, nothing. Like, that's why I probably said that to myself. Because I was like, oh, yeah, you know what? I deserve it, so I'm going to say. But in the back of my mind, like, I'm like, yeah, I can handle this. Like, stub my toe or something. Or, you know, something that doesn't work out completely perfectly. Like, yeah, you know, Hunter, you sinned today. You deserve that. And I kind of made a vlog about how, like, I all of a sudden realized, wait a minute, I can do a ton of bad things. Not, of course, not on purpose, but I did so many bad things today, but God doesn't really care. Like, I'm actually still okay. It's not written down in the book. God threw away the book, the record of my sins. It's nothing to him anymore, right? So I don't know. I made like a little vlog about that, and so I'm thinking about doing that. It would be a non-vlog thing. This series, just kind of every Sunday, I guess, instead of a vlog on Sundays. I'd still vlog on Sundays, but it wouldn't come out if I think you guys are following my thought. And it would just kind of be, hopefully I'd remember to record it, but whenever I have it, maybe film it, edit it, whatever. It'll probably be on Wednesday or something, or but like sometimes when you're in a sermon series, you hear the same sermon basically over and over again. But then I remember there was a time in between sermon series, and at Impact sermon series are super long. Like we've had like probably 3 main sermon series this year, maybe 2. So there's it's just a lot of so like in between sermon series, sometimes there's a few weeks, in between, and they just put in like fill-in sermons that are completely unrelated. So like a lot of times it's the same sermon over and over, but then there's that random fill-in sermon in between series, and it's something completely different, right? Because it's something you can only put in one sermon. It's not like when you come up with a sermon series idea, your sermon series idea probably isn't going to be something really specific like swearing. Like you can't talk there's a bee on my window. You can't talk for like 45 minutes every single week for like 8 or 10 weeks about swearing, right? You'd get tired of it after like one sermon. But so sermon series are always like really broad, like hope or joy or God's promise, right? Which, I mean, it's great, but it has to be something that can pull a lot of sermons out of. And then you have your random fill-in, which is something completely off the board, something that you can only talk about once. And a lot of times those are kind of eye-opening because you don't hear much in the sermon series. So just kind of stuff like that, stuff that's going on. There's a club at my school where it's a Christian club, right? And we celebrate our new life in Jesus Christ. But the leaders are seniors right now, so I'm thinking about they need leadership. So I'm thinking about maybe next year taking that up. So that'd be like once a week, a meeting, and I'd be like I don't know if I'd be the president, right? That's a lot, but maybe something higher, maybe a helper or whatever. It's a very small club, but I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's kind of a weird thing. Obviously, really hard to manage a club. So my hats off to the leader, Sam. He's done a great job. But sometimes it's like kind of it's one of those things where you don't know what's going on. Like you join like. Sometimes there's a Bible study, and like sometimes there's not for a really long time. It's just kind of like it's very unpredictable and stuff. So like I think things get really effective when you know what's going on. So like I can count on a meeting every single Friday, no exceptions, unless like there's either no Friday or no lunch. But like let's say there's no Friday, or Friday's a minimum day, so there's no lunch. Like you move it back to Thursday. Like no, without a doubt, it's a meeting every week. I think that's really important. To have, I just remembered, like, did I go to the meeting? Yeah, I did. And I think I want to have, if I were to take leadership, I would try to do it, like, every single week. People can rely on it, people know what's going on, and I want to get a fellowship going, because I think that's the groundwork for a fellowship. Sometimes it's hard to have fellowship, I think, like this year. They wanted us to be in fellowship, but, I mean, first of all, initiating it late, there's like 4 weeks of school left, but also it's just kind of weird because it's like, I don't know how reliable this is, like I don't know what's going on. So I want it to be a thing where like there's without a doubt a meeting every single week. You can rely on seeing this person or that person every week, so I can actually get the club to dive into fellowship with together, fellowship with one another, have people early off in the beginning of the year, do a few weeks of talking, have a group discussion about fellowship, stuff that I've learned over the past year, and then give that to them, make them do it, because that sounded really forceful, but I think sometimes people need it, because that fellowship, Christian fellowship, don't break your light, Hunter. Christian fellowship is one of those things where unless you have like something right there making you do it, you probably won't, because it's not the most like, you don't want, it's just, maybe it's just my age, maybe it's just high schoolers that don't do it, maybe it's a bit more normal in the real world, But high schoolers do not go up and say, hey, how's it going? How was your day? How's your walk with the Lord going? Like, they're going, oh, I don't want to talk to you anymore, you know? It's not, I mean, don't say that, but that's kind of what's, you know, you don't see that very often. And there's been a lot of guys retreat this year. It was all about fellowship. When did they start this? They ended a sermon series a while ago at church, and they started this new one that we've been on. That we were in this sermon series from the very beginning of the year until Easter, it's called With, right? And pretty self-explanatory. The sermon series is called With, and basically it's about, it was about fellowship, and it really got me because that's something I'm failing on. But like every single week, you know, he was just back up there saying like, you need to get into fellowship with other Christians. It's so important. But it was that, and there was also an aspect of be with other Christians to reach those who are without God. And I think that's super important. That's like everything I'm focusing on. But, you know, I've had those are kind of some of the revelations I was talking about, I guess, when I said I wanted to start this weekly gospel thing on Sundays. I'm kind of talking about those revelations I had at those sermons. Like, I remember the pastor said once, I'll probably never forget this, I wrote it down, but it said, it was on the topic of, like, you know, guy to guy, girl to girl relationships, right? Relationships with other guys. I'm trying, if there's any girls watching, I guess girl to girl, you know, but relationships with other Christians, about how you won't have to worry about what you want or what you care for anymore because the other person will be doing that. And I thought that was so crazy. That was so awesome. Because it's such an amazing thing to think. But that's how God wanted it. That's how it was supposed to be. We don't have, like, you know, they always tell you, don't be selfish, don't be selfish. And, like, you're trying, but at the same time, it's like, well, I do kind of need this, like, oh, how do I not be selfish? And that's so, like, it's just connecting the dots right there, like, having such a good relationship with someone that you don't have to be selfish anymore because their selflessness is completely covering you. It is completely 100% taking place of your selfishness, so you don't have to worry about, oh, but I want it this way. The other person's gonna be like, oh, so how do you want it? And then they're just, you know, they're gonna be looking out for your needs more than their own needs, which is what you're doing as well. So then you both, it's like if both of you were both completely self-centered, but it's actually the other way around. So you're being loving and caring towards the other person, but you still both are getting the equivalent of if you were both selfish, right? Because the other person is looking 100% after your needs, you're looking 100% after their needs, so everyone's needs are 100% met to the fullest extent that they would have been if I was looking out for only my needs and they were looking out for only their needs. I think that's super, super amazing idea, and that's definitely a goal, I think, for growing up out in the real world, to find a few people that you can have that kind of relationship with. I think that's super important. But yeah, that's just, so yeah, there goes that. I could have put that on the weekly gospel, but now I can't because I just explained the entire flippin' thing here. So no more talking. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully that'll come. If you don't see it soon, maybe it already started actually. But if you don't see it soon, wait till summer. Wait for a little bit into summer, because I might start it then. That might be when I start it. Because, well, I don't know. We'll see how busy I am and stuff, and if I get around to it. So I mean, ideally, I guess I would start this week, but we'll see about the realism of that. But hopefully this summer. Do you guys remember last summer? This is making me think about it. Except I feel like I probably said that exact sentence last year when I was going to do the weekly Bible verses every Sunday, and I think I made like one or two of them and exported them, and I never uploaded them. But I was like gonna have weekly Bible verses with time lapses in the back that came out every Sunday, and people asked about it for like a few months afterwards, like, hey Hunter, were you ever gonna do this? I'm like, oh yeah, let me just get back to those, and I never did, and to be real with you, I probably never will, but we'll see. But at the time, the motivation with that was I felt really called. I was going, yeah, another revelation right there. That's why I did it, because I had a revelation of, okay, because I'm doing this daily devotional by Rick Warren, and it was talking about God gifting you and using your gifts for God's glory, and I was saying, like, God's gifted me with video production. I should be using my channel to do stuff. Otherwise, what is the point of a channel? If I am all for God, what is the point of a channel that isn't all for God, right? So I was thinking, like, I have to do something on my channel, otherwise it's pointless. So that was what I thought of, but I guess if I'm going to do this weekly gospel thing, that would be it. Plus, like, I don't know how much ministering time-lapses with Bible verses would do. You can already get the Bible verses, and people already do that. And, you know, the Bible app has that daily Bible verse with a picture, so, like, I don't know. It's probably not the most effective ministry. I think me talking would be a little bit more ministeringful. Anyways, I'm talking way too long. This is a long vlog. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you like this video, leave a like. If you dislike the video, leave this like. I'm going to share everything in the section down below. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye, bye, bye. There we go.